Hello and welcome to another episode of What Do You Call It podcast. I'm your host, GB. Very special episode today. Today's guest is wrestling's last journeyman, the self-proclaimed King of the Territories, and the NWA Mid-America Heavyweight Champion, current, by the way, for a very long period of time, but we're going to touch on that. Please welcome Jeremiah Plunkett. Jeremiah, how you doing today, mate? You all good?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, GP.
Awesome, mate. Awesome. Thank you for coming on. So, as it's right there, and it was in the introduction, please tell me how was it being crowned the NWA Mid America Champion last year, a championship that you've currently hold at a nearly incredible 365 days, 1 year almost.
I haven't been counting it, but yeah, it is coming up on a year, is it not? Um, it's really cool, man, for a couple reasons. So I think we've all watched enough like wrestling documentaries to know, like in the U.S., it was divided up in territories and whatever. Well, I'm from Tennessee, which is home of the Memphis Territory, Tennessee Territory, Nick Gulas, then followed by Jerry and Jeff Jarrett and Jerry Lawler. Um, this version of the NWA Mid America Heavyweight Championship was a part of the Memphis Territory.
Mm,
So this is the belt that I grew up along with the Southern title watching being defended. Fast forward, there's a period of time of the NWA that a lot of people don't talk about, the dark ages when it was on the independents. Well, the local independents around here was NWA Main Event promoted by Mike Porter. The first independent show I ever went to was an NWA Main Event show. And granted, not this design of belt, but their main championship, the NWA Mid-America Heavyweight Championship. Fast forward to that when I was getting trained to wrestle. The three guys who trained me and Mike Woods, buzzed up in the Outlaw League country, all three former NWA Mid-America Heavyweight Champions. So it means a little bit extra because I have this strange connection to this belt. And not only that, this was brought back after over a decade of over a decade of kind of not even existing, right? So I get to kind of rewrite the history of this title. This
yeah.
title has become the territory title, as it were, meaning I'm king of the territories, as you said
Yeah.
earlier.
Not just a moniker.
Uh, exactly, not just a moniker, because I will defend this any and everywhere. I think originally the idea was supposed to be it's just going to be for the NWA territories. But nah, I don't work like that. Anywhere and everywhere that I can get booked, if the envelope is fat enough, this belt is on the line.
Could that include going overseas? Europe, Japan?
We'll just cover up this mid-America spot, and yeah, man, it's all good. I'm down to defend it anywhere.
Nice, nice. I mean, it's more impressive, like you said, about the legacy attached to it. The previous title holders, Bobby Eaton, Jeff Jarrett, Jerry Lawler, associated with the belt that you currently hold for nearly a year. What are you going to do when it gets to a year? How are you going to celebrate, mate?
I haven't. I mean, I didn't even realize a year was coming up, so I hadn't thought a lot about it. Um, yeah, I don't know. I've had my nose to the grindstone so much. So I'm 20 years in this thing, and like it was starting to become time to kind of slow down,
Hmm.
and then this opportunity fell in my lap, and I've been as busy as ever. Um, so. I think it's going to be just keep the nose to the grindstone. I look at it like I've got a legacy that is tied to this championship now,
Yeah.
and being in the definitely the back nine of my career, I'm writing what hopefully I'll be known for.
I don't think you could put like an age anymore on terms of retirement. If you look at
That
like,
that that is true.
stars, the top stars now around, even like Jericho,
Yeah.
you
No,
know.
that's 100% true. And I'm feeling better than ever. I had some injuries back about 5 years ago that were really bothering me, and that's when I was looking at possibly hanging it up.
Yeah.
And since then, I've rehabbed my body a lot, dropped a significant amount of weight, and I'm feeling really good. So I think you're kind of right. You can't necessarily put a number on it. I remember when I started in '05, the magic number was 30. If you hit 30, people aren't going to look at you anymore.
Yeah.
And now you look at the main event of WrestleMania. How old is John
Yeah.
Cena? Got to be
Nearly
pushing
50,
50,
48,
right?
I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and Cody's not a young man. They just main evented WrestleMania. AJ Styles is 50, I believe, in his
Yeah. I
50s.
think it's like
Then you've got,
49.
you've got Jericho, who's ageless,
Yeah.
and
Sting in his mid
it's
60s was rocking it, in AJ.
right. I think it's amazing. Like two things. I think the modern wrestler takes a little bit better care of their body than the
Yeah.
wrestlers of the past. But a lot of guys back in the day hit their prime later. Like Nick Bockwinkel's 45 years old, but he's the AWA World Heavyweight Champion and having amazing
Doing
matches.
Iron Man matches.
Right.
Was it Kurt Hennig or Vic Martel? Just these long,
Both.
yeah.
Both. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I do think the modern wrestler takes better care of their body to a degree, health wise, maybe not so much in the stunts wise.
No, wicked, mate, wicked. I just want to rewind the clocks just a little bit, and I want to talk to you as a fan, and I want to discover what made you a fan of professional wrestling. I know you did touch on it, growing up in Tennessee, and some of the wrestling that you saw. But what was kind of your introduction to it? How did you sort of develop this love for professional wrestling before you entered
Well,
the journey?
yeah. Before I discovered the Memphis wrestling, I think I was like every other kid in the late '80s, early '90s. WWE was a live action cartoon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I watched Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling. I had the Smash Buddies and, all tons of Hasbros that I got rid of. And now in this
Oh,
market now, I wish I had every one of them. I'm not a figure guy, but I wish I would have
yeah.
held on to them
Just
just
seeing what
to,
like Matt Cardona's done with it.
yeah, yeah, it's amazing. And I never thought it would be like that. Had I known, everything would have still been in boxes. Um, but so I was a WWE kid, but my diehard fandom came from watching Memphis wrestling. And I was just flipping through the channels one day. Just flipping through, changing channels from cartoons. Oh, I didn't like this one. Let me flip through to the other one. And around about 10 a.m. on one of the local channels, Memphis wrestling would come on. And I was like, these people, I mean, they're still big, scary looking men, but they're not cartoon characters. It's more realistic. You didn't see blood on WWF at the
Yeah.
time, but you'd see blood on Memphis TV, and it was Jerry Lawler throwing a fireball. He was coming back to Memphis for a show at the Mid-South Coliseum, and they played what I found out is a old music video, but I didn't know. Um, and he's tossing fire at people, and that of all things is what got
Yeah.
me hooked on wrestling. I want to learn how to throw a fireball.
So you got like Bastion Booger on one channel, and you got Jerry Lawler like firing like fireballs, and the other was like, okay, I know which one I'm picking.
Right, and like I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know if it was like, all right, today hip tosses and tomorrow's fireball day. I don't know why I thought that, yeah, if I joined wrestling school, I'll learn how to throw fire. Everyone knows how to do it.
Yeah.
I didn't learn until very many years later, but yeah, that's what got me hooked, man, is just seeing a man throw a fireball.
Like normally, like I want to pick your brains, but I think fireballs look so cool. I don't actually want to know how it's done. So keep that one locked up. Sorry, listeners, I just don't want it spoiled
Absolutely.
for me.
Yeah.
We've seen enough of Wrestling Exposed. That one, I want that kept a secret. It looks awesome, man. Just want to touch on sort of your debut when you got into the wrestling. So tell me about like sort of the first match you have. I think your reaction really says it. I think we're gonna get quite a good story here. Jeremiah, tell me, mate, like how was it?
So I was training for a while, like I said, with Mike Woods buzzed up and Lee Condrey. Lee Condrey ran a wrestling promotion. Um, And literally like a week of, I think that Monday he ran on Saturdays. That Monday he hit me up and he was like, I've had someone fall through. Do you think you're ready to debut? I'm like, yeah, sure. He's like, now it's kind of an extreme match. Are you all right with that?
Yeah,
And I go, yeah, yeah, anything, whatever you need. I wasn't ready. Um, the match I was stepping into was a 6-man. I'm trying to get all the stipulations. They did some wild stuff at the time and for Lee's promotion. It was 6-man tornado tags, so no tags, falls count anywhere. Uh, I believe I believe it was fans bring the weapons. There were weapons. I don't know what the fans brought them, but there were weapons there.
yeah,
Um, I obviously bled. I was slammed onto thumbtacks multiple times, and the finish was they called it the pimp juice. It was like a double swinging rock bottom. I can't remember what I did last week, but I can remember this. Double swinging rock bottom through a bundle of light tubes. And that is the one and only time I've ever done light tubes, and it's the one and only time I will ever do light
In
tubes.
your first match as well.
Yes. Yeah. And then after that match, main event, after that match, straight to the shower, got as much glass out of my back as I could, showered, took down the ring.
I've got to ask, mate, two questions. How long had you been training for prior to this match? And did you get to do any fireballs?
No fireballs. That didn't come till years later. I think I threw my first fireball in. I guess it wasn't that long. 2008. So 3 years later, I finally got somebody to show me. But the first question was how long had I been training? I started training in February of 2005. That match was late July.
Yeah.
And I do 3 days a week. And then I got to be buddies with Lee about halfway through. And the training was at his house, so I could just come set up the ring anytime. And so I was doing 5, 6, 7 days a week, whatever I could muster.
Yeah. Wicked, mate. There is one individual I want to mention. He was a mentor to you. You wrestled him. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us, but a lot of wrestling fans remember him. Tracy Smothers. Please
Yeah.
share some Tracy Smothers stories, mate. I've never really had the pleasure of really reminiscing about him as a fan on this podcast, but until now, and for someone that knew him pretty well, just yeah, mate. Any funny stories or any memories that you can share? I was such a fan of him in ECW. Yeah, it's the FBI, but the things that he can do, like the comedy, but you just know like he beat the shit out of you.
On that. So Tracy, if you watched his later years, and this would have been 2014, so definitely in his later years, um, the injuries had mounted up, right? He
Yeah,
was not getting around well. In middle of 2014, I believe my years are right. I had an opportunity to actually wrestle for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. They're bringing in Satoshi Kojima, who was the champion at the time, and I was working for one of the local NWA promotions in Tennessee, and they kind of wanted to do the old coach, like bring in the old salty coach to train somebody up for a big match thing. We're
yeah,
shooting some vignettes, and Tracy, they talked to a couple people, um, and apparently, and I just found this out recently. This part of it, Tracy called them. He had seen some of the programming and called to see if he could be involved. Not only did he do that, and this just will speak to the kind of guy Tracy was. And I knew Tracy was coming down for some shots, and I was happy to work with him because I love Tracy. Tracy was doing it for gas money. And Tracy wasn't living local. Tracy's always been billed for Springfield, Tennessee. Tracy was living in Evansville, Indiana. So that's a 200-mile trip each
yeah.
way. So Tracy was coming in, like I said, for gas money or just over, just to kind of help me out and coach me up. So we're shooting these vignettes. And here's Tracy, and he's got a cane and he's got a limp. Tracy's beat up. Uh, and he doesn't go over anything beforehand though. So I'm like, all right, these vignettes are going to be all ad lib. Um, so he puts down the cane so we can start talking and we start filming. And he goes, no, you just got to always be prepared, blah, blah, blah. And then he hooks me and like legitimately belly to belly suplexes me. I'm about 255.
Yeah.
Tracy sent me through the air. Keep in mind, 2 minutes before this, he's walking on a cane hunched over, talking about how bad his hip hurts. The man was they talk about like country strong or farmer strong.
Yeah.
Tracy has had some of the most like natural strength, and it was just so insane how he could go from literally hunched over, like I'm not exaggerating, to tossing me ass over head, like across the ring. And like we stopped filming, and I go, Tracy, where did that come from? And he goes, I just felt it. I'm like, I felt it too. Um, so he did that, and then like I remember and you have to remember too, the guy also wrestled three bears, so it kind of makes sense that he could toss me like that. Uh, but it like comes to the night of the show, and I'm a little nervous, but I'm kind of good, and I'm warming up, and Tracy comes up, and he's legit. He took this coach role very seriously, and it meant the world to me because he goes, how you feeling? I go, feeling good, Tracy. He goes, here, and he hands me an orange. Now, Tracy always used to have like these long like warm-up routines. Like he would eat an orange, then he'd shadow box, then he would eat a protein bar, and then
Yeah.
he'd do some Tai Chi. Like Tracy was meticulous about his warm-up routine, especially the older he got because he was hurt, right? So he gives me an orange. I go, all right, Tracy, thank you. So I eat the orange, and I go back to warming up, and he runs back up to me, and he goes, here, need this protein bar. Basically, he's running me through his warm-up routine. He just
Yeah.
wants to make sure like I'm set. And like legitimately, he gave me a hug afterward, told me he was proud of me. He cut promos for me. We were doing the meet and greet beforehand, and he sat up beside me, and he would just start giving his photos away to anything I sold, just to like help business. Tracy was the most giving person ever in pro wrestling that I've ever met. Um, I wish more people were like him. He's got kids everywhere. We all call ourselves the sons and daughters of Smothers. Like people he's touched all throughout wrestling. I don't think anybody will be more influential to wrestling, specifically independent wrestling, than Tracy Smothers was. I
No,
miss
man.
him dearly.
That's. I'm glad you shared that. It makes me happy to hear that. Someone who's a fan of him, but for you to share a wonderful Trace Mother story
Oh,
and the
buddy.
influence he had on you.
Have you heard about his temper? I'll share one more. I'm sorry, I can talk
Go
forever
for it,
about
mate.
Tracy.
Honestly, go for it, man.
So Tracy has a real bad temper.
Yeah.
Like he could, I've seen him. He hated being called old. And like if he asked you to in a promo, cool. But if you just did it, oh boy, you thought that suplex was bad.
Ah, would never
So
rock
like
with it.
he could snap,
Yeah.
right? Um, I'm coming home from OVW one night. I had done one of their Saturday night specials, and I'm driving through the middle of Kentucky. Nobody's on the road. Tracy used to do a thing because he's always about making a town, and you don't stop for bathroom breaks. Um, where if you have to go, you go in a Gatorade bottle or a cup and you toss it out the window so you don't have to make a stop.
So great. I
And we had,
understand, but yeah.
yeah, we had jokingly called it the Smothers car bomb, right? It's fucking, silly for us. Uh, well, I did it, and God, this was a bad habit that I can't believe I used to do. But I used to like Facebook update and drive or text and drive like a psychopath. I can't believe I ever did that.
Ah,
But I just after I did it, I thought it was funny, and I put on social media, just did a Smothers car bomb, just a little joke for my friends to know, right? All of a sudden, I get a call from Tracy, who was off that night, and if he was off, Tracy liked him some Jack and Cokes. Well, Jack Daniels could also fire him up.
yeah.
And he calls me, and he's like, "Hey, what the F is this Smothers car bomb?" And I'm like, "Oh, geez," like he's cussing me out. Like, and I answered, like I saw Tracy. I'm like, "Hey, man, what's up?" And he's gonna jump down my throat. And I'm like, no. I go, "Tracy, I'm not insulting you." I go, "It's that thing you do where you pee in the deal and toss it out. We just called it that." And he turned off instantly. And he goes, "Oh, okay. So where you at tonight? How'd the match go?" Like, how you been? Where you booked at? Like he was always asking questions, but like, you know, I thought he was going to come out of my car and like jump down my throat because he just thought I was taking a shot, which I never would, but.
If anyone could do a thumbnail for this, that'd be great. I will applaud you and I will make it worth it while. Um, but no, thank you, Jamar, for sharing that. That was awesome, man. Just a few more questions, mate, 'cause I know your time's limited. As I said, you are a busy man. Obviously, defend the title when you can. So I want to know, is NWA your wrestling home? Because I know you've been associated with it for a while now, and you talk about the dark days, as you would call it, but also just very different inception of it to now, to seeing where it's evolved to. Is it the place you go, yeah, that's where I consider my wrestling home?
It is. I'm fiercely independent, and so I'm a freelancer, and
Mhm.
that's always been me. I kind of get, I don't want to say bored, but I get complacent if I'm stuck somewhere too long.
Yeah.
Which is the good thing about NWA. You're not there all the time. Um, but the vibe of it. I remember when I first walked in to GBP Studios. Granted, it was after COVID, and that timing was just unfortunate because I never got to. You saw those early episodes of Power, right? When
Mm.
they're in the Atlanta studio and the people are right on top of you. Um, I worked backstage at the last show at GBP Studios, and I never got to wrestle in front of the crowd. And then when we came back, it was post COVID. So, like, when we had a crowd, it was significantly cut.
Yeah.
And we haven't been back since, and that I hate that. But walking in and seeing it look almost just like the old WCW TBS set, like as
Mm.
close as they could get it. And being a Memphis wrestling fan, I'm a fan of studio wrestling. And, that's what I grew up on. And I had a mentor in the business named Mike Promo who always said, best advice, some of the best advice I ever got. Wrestle like you saw yourself doing it when you were a kid. Well, when I saw myself doing it as a kid, I saw myself in a studio
Yeah.
talking crap, at a podium or at a desk with an announcer in a suit. I saw a fight breaking out there. I saw, you know, fans, but like not huge arenas. I saw it being very realistic,
It was
and
quite intimate as well, wasn't it?
yeah, yeah, and like I don't know, something special about that to me. Um, so yeah, I mean, I guess if I had a wrestling home, as much as a nomad as I am, it would be the NWA.
Wicked. I'm going to follow up on that on the NWA. I've got a fun question for you. Might be a
Yeah.
bit difficult though. Who would be on your National Wrestling Alliance Mount Rushmore?
Are we talking current roster or all time?
You can mix it if you want. I know that might
Uh,
be a bit more difficult, but
yeah. Uh, let me go with current roster just because there's some guys there that
yeah,
I
that's fine,
don't
mate.
think get the rub they deserve. Tom Latimer, granted, I say don't get the rub they deserve, and he's the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Tom Latimer is one of the best wrestlers I've ever watched, and I've never got to wrestle him, but we were both working at a training school together, and so we got to
Mm.
mix it up a few times and roll around smooth as silk.
Superb talent from the UK. Yeah.
Oh man. Oh well, I mean Nick was also there that same day, Nick Aldis, and I
Yeah.
got to roll around with him some. Same. Like you can tell they're obviously really good buddies too, because
Yeah.
they're both just so good. Um, but current roster will go. Let's see, Tom Latimer, uh, Colby Carino's amazing.
Yeah. I think he's underrated.
Uh, here's somebody who's really underrated, Sauronaro.
Wicked guest. Had him on quite early on. Great
Oh
guy.
yeah, man, I love talking to Sal, and I bet that was a
It
fun
was a fun
interview.
chat. Yeah.
It's so funny. Good God. And hasn't been seen, but is still there. I'll keep it at that. You remember Captain Yuma?
I don't know why I can't put like the name to an image at the moment, but I'm sure some of the
Uh,
comments will turn me off.
he was in the Obi-Gotten with us early on, wear a spaceman outfit. He's right up there with Sal too. Just one of those guys, like looking at them. Which, granted, if you know Sal's history, good God, he's been everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, but unassuming, like especially looking at him, right? Unassuming, and then you get in there with them, and they're amazing.
Yeah.
Um, so that's I know it's a weird Mount Rushmore, but I go from it from I guess a wrestler's uh aspect. Yeah, those guys are some of the best you could tie up with at the NWA. All time, I'll always be a Harley guy. Harley's my world champion.
Mm.
Um,
He
Harley,
was class. He was class.
Ter Terry, Funk. Uh, you can't not throw Rick in there. Harley, Terry, Rick, probably Dusty. Probably Dusty. I realize I'm naming all heels, so yeah, let's throw a baby face in there. Probably Dusty.
But you got to have Dusty, though, haven't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's just
Yeah,
always
you
him
do.
there for me. I mean, Harley Race as well, but them two will always forever be associated with the NWA. And then when
Yeah.
Cody got his moment and then won the NWA from Nick Aldis, I mean, that was such a cool moment.
Oh, good God. That match was sick.
Awesome, awesome match. If there was a new wrestling fan out there, and you had to let them be aware of the NWA, the current NWA, and tell them why they should watch and tune in as much as they can for the National Wrestling Alliance in 2025.
So the NWA in 2025, I'm trying to think how I would describe it. It's almost like a three-ring circus.
Yeah.
And I say that because we still have hyper gritty like studio wrestling, but now they've added in, in recent weeks and months, we've had like some, I don't want to say, I want to say reality TV, but it's more like, I don't know. It's not all, it's more vignettes than promos. You know what I mean? I guess it is kind of reality TV like. Um, so they've had some vignettes and promos like that. Gosh, we've been bringing in more wild characters here lately. Like we got the Slime Balls, Maxie Impaler, Frank,
Mm.
people like that. But still world-class wrestlers, Thrillbilly Silas Mason, my boy Alex Taylor. Uh, it's got a little bit of everything. Don't get me wrong, I'm not gonna lie. I miss the nostalgic classic of when I first came in, personally.
Yeah,
I'm an old school wrestler though. I grew up on that. Of
but
course,
that's
I'm
where
gonna
you come
be.
in, though. You
Yeah.
sort of represent that still.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And hey, that's all I know. I'm going to represent that till I die. But personally, I miss that part of it. But we that's a very niche thing, right? You know, people who like that, like me, are going to like that. But we got to expand to a wider audience than we have, and there's a little bit of everything. I think if you watch NWA, and because our episodes are so short, you might have to watch a couple, but you'll find something that you relate to and definitely like.
Nice. Last question, and then I'll let you enjoy the rest of your day because I think it's still early afternoon. Billy Corgan, what's he like as an owner and promoter?
I've had I don't want to make it sound bad. I want to say I've had very few conversations with him. It's not that I haven't like talked to him or we like don't talk to each other. It's not that.
Yeah,
I've had very few, long sit down conversations with him. And I guess this is part of part of dealing with Tracy is there was always the office and the boys.
yeah,
And he always used to say, you can make money or you can be one of the boys. And I've been one of the boys way too much, but so was Tracy. Um, so I don't talk. It's not I don't talk to a lot. I haven't had a lot of conversations with the office guys. I like to think I'm the easy employee. You're not going to hear anything from me unless I absolutely have to.
yeah,
Um, all of our conversations that we have had, uh, have been great. I don't want to, no, he's more eccentric. I mean, compared to me, he's lived a very different lifestyle. I think about that. I'm like, oh, that seems peculiar. I'm like, he's also been massively famous for 30 years,
massive
and
culture.
not just famous, like massively
Yeah,
selling out arenas famous. Um, when we talk about pro wrestling, though, he's got a love for it,
yeah,
and he's got a love for the history of it too. And like there'll be some weird pulls. Like I'll see for his NWA Chicago shows, he'll pull up Fred Kohler, who was an old promoter in the Chicago area. And like I fancy myself somewhat of a historian, had no clue who Fred Kohler was and why we were doing a battle royal dedicated to him and all this. I had no idea. Um, I don't know, man. He loves it. He digs it. And this is his passion project. And he's sinking a lot into it. And people think, oh, he's got money, but have you ever funded a television program?
can't say I have. Can't say I
Yeah,
have.
you know what I mean? Like, and that's what I think a lot of people think it's just a taped indie, but the NWA runs everything top
Yeah,
notch, like the
pretty good
catering,
production.
the setup, everything.
Yeah,
So, he's putting his money where his mouth is. Everybody else will Monday morning quarterback wrestling all day long, but they don't put a dime in to change it. Billy's putting his money where his mouth is.
and it's still going strong.
It is.
Jeremiah, gonna end this interview. Thank you for your time and thank you for coming on. Where can the listeners find you on social media and keep up to
Uh,
date with to see if you make it to 1 year?
I am, good Lord willing, I am on all social media under Plunkitis. You can thank Danny Deals for that name. He gave me that in like 2009, and I haven't changed it since. Yeah, and just keep an eye out for me. I'll anywhere and everywhere, so I could wind up on a show near you.
Awesome. With the Smothers car bomb as well on the way.
I've stopped doing that. I've stopped. I just leave earlier now. I'll just leave earlier.
Awesome, mate. Thank you very much. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. But for now, everyone, take care.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's time for What Do You Call It? Podcast!